First, some breaking news from the federal courthouse in Buffalo, New York. Pascale Ferrier, the Canadian woman charged with mailing a letter laced with a deadly toxin to the American president, has made her first court appearance. She pleaded not guilty. An FBI affidavit filed in court says when Ferrier was detained September 20th at the Peace Bridge border crossing, attempting to cross into the U.S., she told American border officers she was wanted by the FBI for the ricin letters. It says she was in possession of a loaded firearm in her belt, as well as a knife. Abigail Bimman listened to the court proceedings today. Abigail, what happened?
Donna, the judge entered a not guilty plea on Pascale Ferrier's behalf. A French interpreter was used for the hearing, though Ferrier gave some one-word yes answers, and the judge acknowledged she has substantial knowledge of English. Ferrier's case was put over until next week. Court heard the U.S. intends to push back against bail, noting the charge involved a crime of violence and saying she posed a serious risk of flight. She was assigned a public defender.
She has a presumption of innocence, and that'll be pursued further after today.
Abigail, you read through the affidavit filed in court today. What does it reveal about her arrest and the allegations against her?
Well, Donna, the affidavit was written by an FBI special agent, and he alleges there were 7 letters in total, 1 sent to the president and 6 sent to Texas penitentiaries and detention centers. Let's look at the letter to Donald Trump first. It gives some clues about a possible motive. The author calls the president the ugly tyrant clown, saying he ruins the United States. It tells him to give up and remove your application for this election. The letter talks about a, quote, special gift for Trump and notes, if it doesn't work, I'll find better recipe for another poison, or I might use my gun when I'll be able to come. Enjoy. Signed, Free Rebel Spirit. The FBI confirmed the substance in the envelope was the poison ricin, and they found Pascale Ferrier by tracking people with Canadian connections who were arrested or spent time imprisoned in Texas. Ferrier had been arrested there for weapons possession last year. Court records show the charges were dismissed. She was released soon after and transferred into the custody of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. According to the FBI, the other 6 letters were sent to people affiliated with the facilities where she was held, and all the letters shared one line: if it doesn't work, I will find a better recipe. There are still unanswered questions here, and a big one is about that so-called recipe. How did someone get their hands on ricin for 7 letters and not expose themselves to danger, considering just a pinhead amount can kill? Donna?
Abigail Bimman in Ottawa, thanks. So who is Pascale Ferrier and where has she spent the last few years? Mike Armstrong set out to find some answers by speaking to people who know her.
Diane Chamberlain says she knew the face immediately, but it took a minute to place. The woman suspected of sending ricin-laced letters lived at Chamberlain's campsite south of Montreal for the entire summer of 2018. Chamberlain says the more recent photos look very different. She doesn't have the same look in her eyes, Chamberlain says. It's like something changed. Pascale Ferrier appears to have kept 2 Facebook accounts. With them, you're able to piece together her life over the last several years. This was her citizenship ceremony in November of 2015. She immigrated to Canada from France. A year later, on a Twitter account under her name, there's a post that she seemed to be fed up with Quebec winters and was preparing to start a new life. Well, she purchased this RV in the fall of 2017 and started living in it full-time the next spring. Ferrier moved to a campsite northwest of Montreal, but according to the owner, left after just 1 month without paying. That's when she moved to Chamberlain's campsite, staying for the rest of the summer. She removed the table in the RV and replaced it with a desk running a web design company from it. Chamberlain says she worked out of the RV. She was quiet and they never had any trouble at all. Well, in October of 2018, she headed south for Texas, taking with her a travel companion. Everything seemed fine right through to a post on New Year's Eve. Now, there's nothing on her social media about her arrest March 12th, 2019 in southern Texas. She was picked up on firearm-related charges. Ferrier would spend time in jail. She was released in May and then headed back to Canada. She posted this video from a diner in Arkansas, updating friends, saying she was headed north. Well, back in Canada, she doesn't appear to have found a job in her field right away. She worked at this grocery store outside Montreal for 5 months.
Elle faisait la livraison.
This woman says she was shocked to see her former colleague on the front page of newspapers. She says Ferrier never talked politics or said anything about having been arrested.
On n'a jamais entendu parler de politique. Jamais, jamais.
Ferrier found a new job over the winter. Her online CV says she was a software configuration manager here. That new job was just a 2-minute drive from the location raided by police and soldiers Monday. Global News has confirmed it was Ferrier's apartment. She was 2 months into a 1-year lease. Mike Armstrong, Global News, Montreal.